The contents of this interview, or from Awake and Empowered Expo LLC from Ethann Fox and Flower of Life Center for Human Evolution, is for informational purposes only and does not necessarily reflect the viewpoints held by these organizations or individuals. Always consult with your doctor or health professional before making any changes to your diet, lifestyle, or prescription drug use. Please understand that you assume all responsibility and risk for the use or misuse of this information.
Hi, it's Ethann Fox from the Awake and Empowered Expo, and I'm here with Lloyd Mear, and we're doing part 2 of a 2-part interview that we did. So if you didn't catch the first one, make sure you watch the first half, which really talks about Lloyd and his work and what he's about to do here. But now we're going to do a sample session. He's going to work on me, and so you can get a feel for how his process works, and if you decide to contact him for a private session or attend our expo this October 11th through 13th, and he'll be here that week doing private sessions as well. So I'm going to let him take it away from here so you can experience this for yourself.
Good afternoon. I'm going to go through what is regarded as a checkoff sheet, and this sheet is not going to basically change anything, but it's going to give me an overview of the condition and health of the body. And I start out, and a lot of it is in almost a shorthand type of effect, and it won't make a lot of sense. I'm not going to take the time to explain each and every step today, but I'll go through and fundamentally show you how this process works. First of all, I start out, and there's basic frequencies in the body that tell me in a general sense what your state of health is. And I start out with frequency 8. The rod moves, it says yes. And I'm asking, all my questions are yes and no, and the answer comes from a higher source and activates it. I'm not involved in the answering process. Go to frequency 14 and it says yes. Frequency 20 says yes. 23 yes. 28 yes. 38 yes. 177 yes. Okay, nothing came out of that. Had it been that frequency 8 did not read, I'd be looking for a major infection. 14, I'd be looking for autoimmune problem. 20 hadn't answered yes, I'd be looking for schizophrenia. If 23 hadn't answered, I'd be looking for cancer or bipolar. If 28 hadn't answered, I'd be looking for Alzheimer's or dementia. And if 38 hadn't answered, I'd be looking for a major emotional problem. And 177 frequency is the management of all of that, and that is healthy. So we move on, and it's a matter of not stumbling on anything, just moving forward. State of health, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. State of health, I will do again because it got me a little bit of indication. State of health, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 would be, a 10 out of 10 would be perfect. Indication of 9 reading tells me there's something perhaps a little wrong here, so I'm a little alerted to it. Energy flow is good. Inner cell hydration, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. I spoke of that in the first episode, and that is getting more nano water into your system to build up your hydration, which we'd like to see up around 50. Stress, and it says no. Chakras are not chakras are functioning. Lactic acid, no. Muscle energy, low, no. Consciousness, 1, no. 2, yes. Consciousness is when your body is totally conscious and all working parts are working together. That reading would be 1 yes rather than 1 no. And then number 2 would be yes, but it could also be no 1, no 2, no 3, no 4, no 5, telling me that the body is even more and more out of frequency or out of consciousness with other components of it. That will perhaps straighten out and come back to 1 yes as we make adjustments. Kundalini is normal, yes. Hypothalamus is normal, yes. Hydration, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's outer cell hydration, so it's in good shape. Hormones missing, numbers, no. Genes missing, numbers, no. DNA missing, number, DNA is in balance. Phase shift, 1 no, 2 yes. uric acid. No, uric phase shift is a matter of controlling the energy flow from the outside into your body, and if that can get out of hand, then you can be very much out of balance by outside energy influences. Chromosome 1 to 23 pair functioning normally, and that says yes. Antibodies, no. Antigens, no. Balance 9, 7, 7, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 7. Energy 211, 5, 3, 7, 4, 6, 3, 7, 3, 9, 3. If both of those numbers had been not representing a position within them, then that would be fibromyalgia. So we would have to take and correct that by bringing two numbers together that would create this number, and two numbers together that would create the second number, and the fibromyalgia disappears. Body tissue pH 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, and that's your pH, acid, alkaline. 6.5 to 7 is an acceptable range. Nucleus ruber is an energy in your spine, and yours is flowing adequately. Human assemblage point 4736 is normal. Metabolism high. Life force 65, 66, 67, 68. 65 is average. You're running 3,000 over average, which is a healthy position. Positive, neutral, negative 10. Your body functions in a negative electrical field, and when you walk along the shoreline of a body of water, you'll pick up negative ions, and that your body feels good with that. Also, a wood-burning stove will give off negative ions. They're all parting to help support that negativity. If, in fact, you didn't read negative 10 and you read positive 10, then you're out 180 degrees, and taking an aspirin would give you a headache rather than curing it. So everything becomes very difficult to treat with a person that's in the positive charge. It's a matter of identifying that and moving them into the negative charge, which we're able to do. DHEA, high. Hepatitis, ABC, DEF, GH, IJ, L, M, N, O, P. And we have hepatitis 2P. You're not showing any presence of hepatitis, so that's clear, but you could have shown up with any one of those numbers. Protein, and they're looking for a protein difference, and it says no, and that could be leaky gut syndrome if it was in your blood or in your urine. Would indicate to us that you're dealing with a leaky gut potential. B6, B12 folic acid, B6, B12 folic acid, and you have presence of that, and that's fine. C-reactive protein, which is a blood disorder. Homocysteine, no. PLGF, no. DVT, no. Viscosity is your thickness of your blood, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'd like to have it 4 to 5. It's ideal. Arterial cirrhosis, no. Blood circulation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that should be a 10. So as we would adjust the blood to thin it out, then your circulation will improve. So we go back in the manual to blood and blood vessels, and the number you take to basically thin out the blood to reduce the viscosity is 68, 46, 57, 77, 367. And once you read that number, you're going to send an intention to the body, and the body will thin out. We're going to take just a second here now and have you read that number, and then I'm going to measure everything again.
Do I need to read this out loud or in my head, or?
You can read it in your head.
And how many times?
Probably about 7.
7? Okay.
Now I'm able to read that number. I'm not able to read it in your body at this time. So I'm waiting for the number to become part of your system, and then I'm able to read it. Okay, I'm now reading 68, 46, 57, 77, 367. You can quit reading now. and that is now having the effect of thinning out the blood.
Now that effect is now permanent, or do I need to keep repeating
No, you'll
that?
need to do it to program it into your body
Okay.
For a period of 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And
Once a day.
Once a day probably would be adequate, and repeating it 7 times each time you do it.
Okay. Mhm.
And then you contact me in 2 weeks, and I go and check you again and see what, whether in fact it has happened or not. And in almost all cases, it does. Okay, now I check your blood circulation. This takes a little while for this to actually happen, but I can check your blood circulation again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's gone up 1 notch.
Mm-hmm.
I check your blood viscosity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you're down indicating 5. We were at 7.
Mm-hmm.
So we brought your blood down to where it will be better circulated. We check for liver enzymes 75, 76, and that's a healthy range. Check your blood oxygen level 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. That's very good. Electrical short circuit, and it says no, and that would be an indication of Alzheimer's or dementia. Electrical malfunction, and that says no, and that would be an indication of cancer. Electrical anomaly, and that says no. Electrical disturbance, and that says no. They're mostly childhood conditions that would evolve around those 2 identifying points. Go down to ATP being delivered to the cells, 8868, 5837, limbic system functioning normally, and that number you're short of. You should be reading 8868, 5837, coming in at 749. So we need to upgrade that number, and you need to bring that into your presence at a healthier level. This basically is dealing with the delivery of what is called ATP cells being delivered to ATP being delivered to the cells. And that number constitutes that happening. I can't sit here right now and tell you what ATP is, but it's a desirable thing to have happen. And once again, I'm not a medical person, and this is developed by my engineering traits and ability, and I try not to try to become too educated in it, so I keep my own mind out of the process, and I'm dealing with needing help from a higher source to answer the question. So I do no answering.
I see. Okay.
We'll go back now and check you for ATP being delivered to the cells, 8868, 5837, 749. That's very strong now, and the limbic system is functioning normally.
Mm-hmm.
Arteries, calcium, checking your blood for calcium in the blood, aluminum, phosphate, barium, boron, phosphate, plaque. You're not indicating to have any identifiable amount of plaque. Carotid arteries are open on the right side and the left side. They run up the front of your neck. And then we check for bacillary arteries that run up the back of your neck into your brain. And the bacillary arteries are functional on the right side and the left side, and you're in good shape for blood flow to the brain. Then we check for MO or medulla oblongata, which is the nervous system, and the knot on the back of your head is part of that, and we check that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's perfect. Then we check your dimension, which we spoke of in the first bit, in your 3rd, 4th, 5th dimension, and 5th dimension is a very stable dimension at this time, and a desirable place to be. Amyloid 8857, L-amyloidosis, and you indicate not to have that problem. 8857 is the elimination of the problem, and you have a high presence of that, so you're safe there. We check you for heart now, weak, medium, strong. Your heart strong. Liver, weak, medium, strong. Right kidney, strong. Left kidney, strong. Spleen, weak, medium, strong. Pancreas, strong. Lung, heart, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's strong. Colon, strong. Bladder, strong. Stomach, weak, medium, strong. Gallbladder, strong. Small intestine, strong. Bronchular, strong. Large intestine, strong. Lungs, right lung, strong. Left lung, strong. Parasites, no. Flukes, no. Infection, no. Appendix, strong. Pathogens, no. Prions, no. Sepsis, no. Mycoplasms, no. MPH, no. Pardon me, I've missed the line here. Candidiasis, no. Candidus, no. Fungus, no. Virus, no. Yeast, no. Mold, Stachybotrys, aspergillosis, no. Bacteria, good bacteria, yes. Digestion, bad bacteria, no. Brain, strong. Dementia, no. MPH, no. Alzheimer's, no. Memory mineral, iridium, strong. For memory mineral. Sinus, no. Diabetes, no. Blood sugar, adequate. The adrenals are good, immune system's good, thymus is good, thyroid, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, pituitary, T3, T4, HDL, over 45 for males, over 55 for females. In your case, over 45 is healthy. Blood pressure is normal, cholesterol normal, triglycerides normal, emotions high, HCl 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's your hydrochloric acid in your stomach for digestion. Spirochetes, no. Spirochete bacteria, no. That is a lead-in to Lyme disease, and you're not showing any presence of that. Hypothalamus 99 is a natural protection against spirochete bacteria, and you have a high presence of that. Polymorphism, no. And miasms are basically traits carried from generation to generation you may have, and you're indicating not to have any. O super could be a carcinogen, and that could be an indicator of cancer, and it's saying no to O super. Sophs is an energy that comes from the universe, from tachyon energy, remanifested into a soap's energy, and you're not showing you're showing a presence of that in an adequate form. Soap's energy is an energy that becomes very dominant on a full moon and the day after, and you've heard of dogs howling at the moon. It's during that period of time that there is definitely an energy out there that is affecting people in a different way. And the police determine that that is a reality in their work, that this particular condition, something is happening. And that is soap's energy goes very high on those 2 days.
And you said I had it high, or
no? You need to have a certain amount of it,
I see.
but your normal is very low. But it goes very high if, in fact, you're subjected to it. There is a number in here that you can read that prevents that from happening. Absorption of vitamin, mineral nutrition is good. Anaerobic, aerobics in balance. Blood oxygen ratio in the blood is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's perfect, 10 out of 10. Parasympathetic nervous system is good. Sympathetic nervous system is fine. 5H2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that deals to another program that's in this book, whether there's anything in that program that you need, and that gives me an indication whether I have to go to that to make the correction. Neutral energy, no. Negative energy, no. Negative emotional energy, no. Congestive heart disease, no. Earth energy, good, yes. Bad, no. That is a condition where you have a very high energy potential, such as a place like Sedona, Arizona, that has a high energy. And when you go there, it feels good, but you can actually be there too long and get too much of a good energy, it becomes a bad energy. And I'm checking that to see if that is happening, and you're fine. Cell request 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is good. T cells over 125, yes. Glutathione over 300, and these are checking various items at certain levels which are desirable. Adrenals, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of 10 is good. Immune system, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of 10 is fine. Thyroid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's reading good. If it read 6, it'll be hyperthyroid. If it read 4, it'll be hypothyroid. Lymphatic system, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's good. We take your blood sugar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Insulin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gives us a balance on sugar and insulin, and so likely you do not have a diabetic problem. Absorbing nutrition, 7463, 895, 89769 indicates to me that you are able to absorb nutrition from what you eat. Now we basically go from here to the individual pages through the whole manual, dealing with the individual items on it. The first page to check here is your energy flow down your spinal column. And right off the bat, I'm not able to read the very first number, so we give you a number that will open that flow up, and you'll read this number. Okay. Okay. As you're reading that number over and over again, you're sending an intention to the body, and now you have energy flowing down your spinal column. Mm-hmm. And I'll quickly go down through and make sure it's flowing through all the vertebrae, down through to the sacrum, and it is, and so you now have energy flow, and everything in your body is connected to that spinal column ultimately. So if you don't have energy flowing, then something is being deprived out in the system.
What kind of health conditions could result from not having energy flow?
Oh, probably more like anything, low back pain, discomfort, probably more often not identifiable in a discomfort, some part of the body. Mm-hmm. Okay. But I had a lady at one time that had a thumb, and her thumb she could not close her hand. And so she came to me, and here's her thumb stuck up. And so when we did her spinal column, she had a blockage in about C2, C3. And so we read that number over and over again. She's reading the number, and I can move my thumb. So it's all part of,
I see.
And the spinal column controls a lot of things throughout the body.
So could physical spinal injuries be remedied by this, or is that a physical?
It depends on what damage is done.
Uh-huh.
If it's a separation, not likely. But if in fact it's a blockage, maybe an emotional block, yes, it could be corrected.
Okay.
Okay, we now go on to enzymes, and I'm going to quickly go down through all the enzymes and identifying that they're in your body. And if you did have autism, you probably would find that the frequency 2237 starting out and the next one 2 at 4 7 6 8 do not exist. It may be part of the fact that the autistic body is basically become autistic because of the inability to perhaps digest and handle food in a certain way, and so the toxicity perhaps leads to autism. These are all theoretical thoughts, but those two numbers do not appear in an autistic child or an autistic person.
Could it be caused by mercury too? Mercury toxicity? I know that's
it's basically part of the straw that breaks the camel's back. Mm-hmm. In itself, I don't believe it does it, but if the body is weakened, and it's one of the many things that it's happened to address, it sometimes is the final thrust that overloads it, and it starts to become autistic. And my real feeling is for autism is that it basically develops in the fetal stage, that out of the energies that come into the body to develop new life, there's 4 energies come out of heaven. One of them is hydrogen 2, which is deuterium. Another one is lack of a better way, we call it XY. Another one is technetium, which is an energy not found naturally on Earth other than through satellite and comet scrap. And that can carry technetium. But it is recognized in the periodic chart as an entity, but it's not ever been found on Earth. But it is in heaven. So, lack of a better way of describing it. And the fetal reaches out and brings these energies in the development stage. And if in fact you're deficient in hydrogen-2, you're not getting enough of it, it appears to be that is one of the missing components that leads to this inability of a body to handle toxicities, the mercury being one of them, but many other things, but just an inability to handle food in a proper energetic way, and they become autistic. And there's some degree of success, I understand, in dealing with autism by getting to be a very specific diet to where their body is not necessarily being fed the toxicity. So there's a lot to be learned about it, but I think the big problem starts right in the development stage.
So what determines which of these four energies a person gets when they're in their development stage?
All four of them you need.
Right. Is it the health of the parent that determines that, or
there's a possibility, yes, or there's a possibility that hydrogen-2 is a diminishing energy. Mm-hmm. That at one time on Earth it may have been a very big presence, and through the dinosaur period and the eruption of many volcanoes at that time, a lot of energy came out of the Earth in the form of hydrogen-2. Mm-hmm. And hydrogen-2, the oldest rocks on Earth, are hydrogen-3 rocks, which are called tritium. And hydrogen-2 rocks are much younger, and it may well have been that was delivered by a comet bearing itself well into the crust of the Earth, and then through volcanic action, it basically fed pieces of it back out. And also deep-rooted hot springs and whatnot will have the presence, could have the presence of hydrogen-2 or deuterium. So consequently, it's a matter of that happening, and the scale was very high, and so the food was very rich. And it may well be the reason why dinosaurs could support their size, because they ate such rich food. Well, that energy appears to have diminished down to being a very low presence, and it may very well be that at some point that there isn't enough energy there for some women to do a proper delivery or proper development, and that the supplement of hydrogen-2 may have to be brought into the picture as to how to get enough to complete this development process. Mm-hmm.
Would you say more like fruits and vegetables and raw, like those kinds of things?
It wouldn't necessarily help, because in the fetal stage it may not be enough.
Oh, I see.
But it may be that we're doing some things in the development stage, or the mother is, that is basically aggravating the situation as well. With the drugs seen the way it is, you never know what that has contributed to her ability to deliver a healthy child. Mm-hmm. But it may well be scientific too, that it's not necessarily the habit of the individual. A lot to be learned, but it's along that line that I feel there's some merit worth going after. Anyway, your enzymes are fine. We go over and we check the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus is functioning fine. We check the pineal gland, and it's fine. Check the pituitary gland, it's fine. The adrenals are fine. Thymus gland is fine. And the parathyroid is fine. So your glands are functioning in normal range. We're checking now for arthritis, and we check for inflammation, and the first number, because it's so often arthritis is brought on by inflammation, and we have a number here. You don't need it, you have a presence of it, but if you didn't have a presence of it, we would be giving you that number to get your inflammation under control. We'll check you in this one here, this primarily acting in alphabetical order. Check you for Alzheimer's, and you have an 875-746-355, and that indicates you do not have Alzheimer's. If you had a missing number there, that would be a situation we'd be checking, looking for that. Check you for dementia, 7837-4668-987, and you have no problem with that. And then we check you for ALS, 6839-6847, and you have no problem with that. So this book really represents numbers that should be in your body. And what I'm really looking for as I'm going through it is missing numbers. If you don't have the number, now we're looking for the problem.
I see.
But every number in this book should be in a healthy body.
So that's a lot of numbers. So when you do a session with somebody, you go through that whole book?
The whole book.
Wow. How long does that take you?
About an hour.
Oh, okay. Well,
if I get with it.
Yeah.
And it can run into more time than that if we've got a lot of correcting to do.
Yeah.
Then it can run into more time just to physically getting everything done.
Mm-hmm. And this book is always growing because you're adding more numbers all the
Yeah,
time.
as
right?
we're growing. I think we did 60 new numbers here this week.
Mm-hmm. And how do you come up? So what? So you're working with a client and they have an issue that is not in the book, and that's how you come up with a new number then?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, if their issue doesn't correct by what we have,
Mm-hmm.
then we basically do a number for them to correct it.
I see.
But it always works.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically have a new number. Now, that number may never be used by another person. On the other hand, it may become one of our more popular numbers. But they all get recorded. And we do updates, and the whole back of the book here is a sample of an update. There's no organization about the updates other than the fact they've been sort of put together more or less, but it basically stands on its own time frame, and you have to go through each and every one of them to find out what something that may be beneficial to you.
Okay.
I'd like to leave it there.
Okay.